We're on.
All right. Okay, so welcome everyone to another week of the Ubuntu Community Team Q&A. I'm David Planella, and I'm joined today by Michael Hall.
Hello.
For those of you who are new at this Q&A, the way it works generally is that we've got an IRC channel where you can ask all of your questions, and then we always do our best to answer them as best as we can. Just remember to prepend them with question, as Mike has just said on the channel, and feel free to ask about any topic related to Ubuntu or open source in general. The only things that we don't generally answer is our support questions, because there are venues that are much more better suited for that. So just ask Ubuntu, the forums, even this course. And I guess that's pretty much it. Mike, have I forgotten anything in terms of logistics?
I just wanted to say, if you're not watching us on ubuntuonair.com, that you should go there, because we've got a nice embedded video and chat screen there. So you get both on the same screen at once, and it makes it a lot easier to follow along.
Excellent. All right, and as usual, if folks on IRC could confirm that you can hear as well, that you can ask the questions, just let us know. All right, so this week to kick off this episode, we've got a couple of announcements. Actually, it was both of us were on this call. We're out at the conference last week. So a part of the Ubuntu team was at the Community Leadership Conference in Portland last week. So that was Elizabeth K. Joseph and Laura Tchaikovsky from the Community Council, which were also joined with Michael with me, who was wearing his Community Council hat and his Ubuntu Community Team at Canonical hat. And then there was myself as well. We met a couple of other folks from the Ubuntu community as well, and we had a really great time. Essentially, the Community Leadership Summit is structured as a non-conference, and the way the Ubuntu team participated was with topics which were related to the Ubuntu community, but which we abstracted so that they could apply to the wider community management. I was going to say community again, but anyway.
The format of the conference, yeah. Because there were a lot of people from outside of Ubuntu, and even some from outside of tech there. So we tried to keep the topics general enough to be applicable to everybody, but still specific enough to address the problems that we wanted to address.
Exactly. So we actually came up with 4 topics, and we ran sessions. Each one of us actually run a session, and we got quite a lot of good feedback from the wider community management world. As Mike was saying, it was not only about open source or even technical community managers who were participating at the conference, but it was quite a variety of backgrounds. So it was really good to see that there's overlap in some of these problems, and or some of the issues that we face as community managers or as a community. And it was good to get the feedback from everyone. So the topics that we discussed, if I remember off the top of my head, were in terms of challenges that we're facing. So the first one was the lack of a new generation of leaders, as in how do we build or how do we grow, how we mentor new leaders to inspire others to contribute. We also had a discussion on community cohesion, as in how do we essentially make and keep friends or that actually make it fun to contribute to Ubuntu and make you feel that you're actually part of a community. We also talk about the challenge of Ubuntu being both a community project and a product from a community, Canonical in this, sorry, a product from a company, in this case, Canonical. And then finally, yes, we discussed a trend that we've been seeing in traditional areas of contributions, which is the fact that some of these contributions are declining. So we had these conversations as part of as the CLS, and then we got together and regrouped essentially to go through the notes that we had been taken, and came up with some conclusions. What I recommend as well is to read Elizabeth's blog as well. She wrote a couple of blog posts about the Community Leadership Summit and also OSCON, which was the conference where CLS was using the space of, and she wrote a really good summary of the discussions and what we did there. But yeah, I mean, in summary,
and I have just posted a link to her blog in the IRC.
Thanks. All right. So I think that was it from my point of view. As I said, it was good to see people face to face. It was good to get this diversity of opinions as well outside of the Ubuntu community. But Mike, what do you think? What were your impressions of CLS?
Well, I came out of CLS feeling, one, a lot more optimistic about what we're currently doing in Ubuntu, and also things that we can do to make things even better for us. So it was a good conference for me. I'm glad that I went. I know I got a lot out of it, and Laura and Elizabeth have both said that they got a lot out of it. So from the community council standpoint, it was worth going to. And there are going to be some changes coming down the pipe. We're working on the logistics of those based on the conversations that we had and the notes that we took to hopefully improve things pretty soon now. I did also want to say thank you to John O'Bacon, who organized CLS and who invited us out there to use his conference as a way to get some Ubuntu people together to talk through these problems. So even though he did leave us for X Prize a while back, we still appreciate him thinking about Ubuntu and helping us out where he can.
Cool. All right. We've got a couple of other things that we want to talk about as well, but since there are some questions already, perhaps we should just start with those.
Yeah, there's a couple questions. The first one is from Snow Eater. He's asking how popular is Ubuntu, but then he changed it to ask specifically how many devices with Ubuntu have been sold, Maizu plus others. And we do not have actual numbers for you, so I can't give you that.
Yeah, I think one thing to mention
to answer this.
No, yeah, it's a tricky one. I think one thing to remember about if we're talking about on the context of devices or on the context of the phone, you have to think that this is our first launch, or this has been our first launch, and we're not looking as much in terms of volume, but in terms of adoption by enthusiasts. And so far, we've been quite successful at this. We've also got three devices right now in the market. We've got 2 BQ devices, and we've got a Meizu device. And so far, as I said, the feedback has been very, very positive. We know that we've still got a long road ahead of us, but we're all pretty pleased with how it has worked out.
Now, if you're a stats person, I do have some interesting numbers for you. The number of apps, the number of app developers, and the number of app downloads from our store has been doubling every 6 months consistently since we started keeping track of it back in late 2013. So we are currently at around like 1,800 apps in the App Store. And you can do the math from there. If we continue this trend of doubling, which again we have for quite some time now, we are growing fast, and we'll very soon have a pretty sizable number of apps available to users. And I think that's going to translate into making it easier for users of the phone to adopt Ubuntu and drop Android or iOS or wherever they're coming from. So that's pretty neat, and I have been keeping up with that just to watch that trend, and it has, like I said, it's steadily been every 4.5 to 6 months, it'll double in size. All right, the next question is from Logcat7. He says he's entirely out of the loop, and he's asking how dependencies work in Snappy. Is it just one copy of a given dependency stored on the host? Pardon his ignorance.
All right.
David, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I can try to take that one. Just remember, I'm not an expert on Snappy, and there are quite a lot of things that are still evolving. But essentially, the idea is that dependencies are all shipped in one snap, in one package. In some cases, though, we've also got the concept of frameworks, which you probably shouldn't map to libraries, but you can think as a framework or something to build upon when you create an app. So some of the dependencies might be taken care of in the frameworks, but on the whole, essentially, you'd be shipping all of the dependencies on your own snap. So to avoid what we experience to be dependency hell. The idea is that it's very, very simple as well, and it's very secure.
And of course, the exception to that is anything that's installed as part of the system you don't have to ship.
Yeah. So in that regard, it also works in the same way as the phone, where you don't need to install the dependencies on Qt, for example, because they're part of the default install.
All right, next question from Half Sail. He's asking, when will the thin Suru action icons land on the desktop? The current desktop folder still has the old action icons. I'd like to update my vector UI. So I guess that's the package. Have you checked the Wiley archives? I know what's going on the phone right now is a combination of the Vivid archives plus some new stuff that's being added on top of that from Wiley. So you might find the new icons there, but they're not going to be in the Vivid desktop archive. All right, Zbach asks, I recall back when the phone interface was first being shown, there was voice searching commands. Is that taken out completely or just on the back burner? I ask because that would be a nice alternative to a car mode. So as far as I know, it's just back burner. I think Ted Gould was the one working on that. And I remember he was working with, I think it was Pocket Sphinx, which is a purely client-side speech recognition system, so that we wouldn't have to record what you're saying and send it to remote servers the way Google and Apple do, because there are privacy concerns on that. I'm not sure how far he got with it. You would have to ask him. He's Ted G on IRC. He would be the best person to ask. But as far as I know, that's still something that we want to offer. But like you said, it's just back burner right now. All right, that's all the questions we had. So David, do you want to get back into the updates while we wait for some more to come in? You're muted.
All right, okay, thanks. All right, so we've got a couple of really cool events coming up, which I wanted to mention. So from the 7th to the 9th of August, we've got the Ubuntu Global Jam. The Global Jam is essentially an opportunity for Ubuntu teams to get together like face-to-face, physically in a place. So it's generally organized. It's generally a set of events, regional events throughout the world, organized by our network of local teams. Global jams are about contributing to Ubuntu. So it's all about triaging bugs, doing translations, writing documentation, learning more about Snappy, and so on. I mean, any area of contribution that you can imagine. It's pretty free format. We've got a page on the wiki.ubuntu.com/Ubuntu Global Jam, which gives some guidance on how to organize global jams and what are the best practices for getting an event together. The jams are pretty lightweight. Essentially, all you need is a location and a couple of people who are excited about contributing to Ubuntu, and you're pretty much set. You're also free to organize something that's bigger, as in finding some bigger space with more people, having an agenda, and so on. But essentially, this, like, having a big event shouldn't be a blocker. It's all about getting together. So that's on the weekend of the 7th to the 9th of August, and check out wiki.ubuntu.com/Ubuntu Global Jam. Now, on that same weekend, there's also something cool going on called the UbuCon LA. That's an event in Lima, in Peru, in South America, where some community members have organized a 2-day conference, and that's from the 7th to the 8th of August, with lots of talks and content about Ubuntu. They're also organizing something called the UbuCon LA Plus, which is essentially streaming that conference on Ubuntu.com, sorry, on ubuntuonair.com, to have more reach for those who cannot make it physically to the conference. So if you want to learn more about UbuCon LA, just head to ubuconla.org, and you'll learn more about the schedule, about the times, how to get there, recommendations for hotels, and so on. I'd really recommend everyone to check and to check it out. And if you can possibly make it, please consider attending. It's going to be a really good conference. It's community organized. This is something I'm really excited about. And the organizers team has been working very hard to have a rich set of talks and a really nice event. So do check ubuconla.org. And
you wanted to talk about the Ubu contest for UbuCon DE, right?
Yeah, we can talk about this now as the questions are coming up. So I was talking of an UbuCon in South America. Now, UbuCons are events that are organized throughout the world, essentially. And in the past, we've had UbuCons in the US, now in South America, and the next one up after UbuCon LA is UbuCon DE, which is, if I remember correctly, from the 23rd to the 25th of October in Berlin. Again, this is going to be a physical event, and you can check ubucon.de for all of the details, how to get there, how to participate. The UbuCon DE guys have got something very exciting going on as well. We've been working with them to organize what they've called the Ubu contest. Essentially, this has been something that Ubuntu member Sternflut and the UbuCon DE organizers have been planning and organizing. It's a contest where we encourage participants to write scopes and apps for the Ubuntu phone, but also there's space for non-technical contributions. So essentially, there are several different categories. I seem to remember there are 5 for participating in the contest. So you can participate as an individual and submit an app or scope. You can participate as a team and again submit an app or scope, or also you can write a blog post or do some technical contribution to Ubuntu phone that might make you eligible for a nomination for the contest. So first of all, I'd say check out ubucon.de/contest to learn about the rules, to learn about the prizes. We've got quite a lot of prizes in terms of devices, in terms of items from the Ubuntu shop. So there's lots of opportunity there to win something there. So do check that out as well. The Ubuntu just started last week, so there's still plenty of time to submit your applications. And finally, one of the highlights of the prizes is the fact that the winners can get a paid trip to ubucon.de to assist the conference in person. So yeah, as I say, do check out ubuntu.de/contest, and yeah, have a go at writing your app or doing your technical or non-technical contribution to the phone. All right.
Those are all of the updates that we had. So we're going to get back to questions now. Go ahead and start asking any questions that you might happen to have. Please don't wait until the very end, because there's like a 2-minute delay on the video. And then, of course, it takes us time to answer the question. So if it gets near the end of our hour and you're just asking your question, there's a good chance that it's not going to get answered. So if you can think of one, ask it now. Don't wait. All right, so going back, we had Mr. Q asked, will Wi-Fi hotspot option come in OTA 6 to the phones? So for people who don't know, this is turning your phone into a hotspot so you can share your cellular data network connection with tablets or laptops. That is slated to come in OTA 6. Yes, that's currently in a silo, waiting to land in the main, the daily images. So as long as there are no blocking bugs on that, that should be coming out to you. I think, let's see, we just had OTA 5, what, a week ago? So sometime mid to late August, I think, is when OTA 6 is planned to come out. So it should come then. If you want it sooner, you can always hop onto one of the more bleeding edge channels. But if you like having a stable phone, you should just be patient and wait for that OTA.
All right, something to add as well. I just got pinged on IRC. So the URL for the Ubu contest is actually not ubucon.de/contest. It's ubucon.de/2015/contest. Or you can also go to ubucontest.eu, which will take you directly to the site. All right. Next question. So, next question.
I think it's Blue Dragon. Is that the one you were gonna?
I think there was another one. Or did you answer the one about how long the Ubuntu Touch is supported for Aquarius?
No. Oh.
All right.
Guess something. Yes.
Yeah.
You didn't start that with the word question in all caps, so I didn't get a highlight. See, that's why it's important. You have to use that question in all caps at the start of your sentence so that I get to see it. Otherwise, it just blends in with the chatter. All right, so guest did ask, how long will the Ubuntu Touch OS be supported for the BQ Aquarius 4.5? Any plans on this? I plan on buying one in India when it is released. Rumor says end of this July. So that's an interesting rumor. We're at the end of July now, so it'll be interesting to see if that comes about. We don't know yet how long we're going to be able to support Ubuntu on these phones. Our plan right now is to support them indefinitely, which obviously is going to come to an end at some point. We're not going to be able to support these for the next like 50 years. but right now we don't have any plans to stop supporting it. So it's going to be basically as long as it's technically possible.
Yeah.
One of the nice things about the approach that we took to building Ubuntu is the layered approach that lets us keep adding updates to Ubuntu on top of the OEM layer that actually makes the phone work. Means that we can keep pushing out updates both more quickly and more easily than they would have to do with Android. So we should be able to keep you up to date. I don't really want to throw out a specific date, but better than Android is what I'll say.
Yeah, you should check out as well the OTAs that we're running. So you'll see right now they're very, very frequent over-the-air updates. I think the frequency is about 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks.
6 weeks. 6 weeks is the target time frame for OTAs.
And we've been very, very, very good at this. And the other thing to remember as well is it's not just about supporting Ubuntu, but it's about how long the manufacturer supports the device too. But yeah, as Mike was saying right now, we don't have any end of life target date. So right now our target is yes, indefinitely, but like bear in mind that the indefinitely is not forever.
All right, now Blue Dragon 77 is bringing up an interesting topic that's been in the news a lot lately. They're asking, what do you think about the KDE Plasma Mobile? I hope we will be able to install that alongside Unity 8 on phones, like we can install KDE side by side with Unity 7. So yeah, we all just found out about it this week also, and it was pretty exciting to see. I'm particularly excited to see that it's able to run the Ubuntu SDK apps natively. From what they've said, it took very little effort to get those working on top of Plasma Mobile. So that's a really cool sign. That's what we're used to in the desktop, where you can run GTK apps on KDE or KDE apps on top of GNOME. So being able to have that flexibility on the phone side is a really exciting prospect to me. The fact that they were able to build it on top of the Ubuntu Touch image base was also a good sign, because that means we've got a nice separation. I think Ogra or somebody else mentioned the work that's gone into keeping that clean separation of the foundational layers of Ubuntu and the UI layers. And so that seems to have paid off in letting them do that. And we do actually use LightDM on the phone, which is the same login screen that we use on the desktop that lets you switch between the different desktop shells. So in theory, I think we could probably support having them both installed. I don't know. There's probably a lot of details that would have to be worked out on that. I'm also hopeful that the Plasma Mobile will be able to support Click packages and the Click store to be able to use that the confinement model that we've built around that, and also all of the apps that have built up around that. So as soon as those people are back from Academy, I'm going to start talking to them. I've already talked to them a little bit on Google+, but as soon as they're back, we'll start talking to them more about where the overlap is and how we can both benefit from that.
All right.
Did you have any thoughts on that, David?
Essentially, I was pleasantly surprised that the project came up, and I was really happy to see that they could reuse some of the work that, like in a very, very positive way, that they could reuse some of the work that had been done for Ubuntu on phones. In terms of the of what it looks like technically, I haven't had the chance to look into it in detail, but I know that some of the Ubuntu folks have been working on it. So yeah, I mean, essentially, I'd say just good work, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of it.
I should also mention, I said it's nice that it shows off the flexibility of our underlying system, but it also shows off the benefit that they get from the split that they've done with the KDE frameworks recently. So they've decoupled a lot of things in KDE and in Plasma with this goal in mind. So they're seeing the fruits of those labors now, and I think that's really good. It's got to be really motivating to them to see that also. So yeah, I'm really excited about it and seeing what they do moving forward.
All right. So next question from Logcat7. So in the Snappy world, would updates of the base system be handled similarly to FreeBSD? Oh, last time I used FreeBSD might have been 10 years ago, so take my answer with a pinch of salt. Essentially, the idea is that in the same way as it happened in the phone, the system is decoupled from applications. So whenever you do an over-the-air update, or whichever way we'll end up calling it on the Snappy world, essentially it's not. First of all, it's not package based. It's an incremental update of the base system, which doesn't change your application. So third-party applications are essentially built on top of the platform. So if FreeBSD has this isolation in terms of updates between the base system and application, if there's true decoupling, then I'd say yes. But I say last time I used FreeBSD was about 10 years ago, so I cannot really compare.
Yeah, it's been a little more than 11 years for me, so. And I don't think I ever did an update on that. I just inherited a BSD server where I worked at. So basically the way David described it, if that's the way FreeBSD worked, then yes, it's similar.
Okay.
All right. Zbach asks, are there plans to have the UI have a TV mode in addition to the other three, phone, tablet, and desktop? So for those who remember, several years ago, before we embarked on this phone project, we did have a Ubuntu TV prototype. And that got put also on the back burner when we picked up the phone and got hardware partners who wanted to ship a phone. But that is still something that we have our sights on. We've got to finish the phone and the tablet, and we've got to bring the desktop up to date with the new technologies that we've built for those before we get back to the TV. But that is still in our sights. It's still something that we plan on getting back to and developing. We're just not sure when that's going to happen.
Okay, I think we missed a question from Half Sale. Is the UbuCon contest a worldwide contest? Yeah, I mean, pretty much anywhere you can participate from anywhere in the world. I think, I mean, as in any other contest that we've run, I think for legal reasons there are a couple of countries which are excluded, but like on the whole, pretty much anywhere in the world.
All right, guest asked another question without prefixing it with the word question. He just put a Q on there. But he asks, why can't we, Ubuntu Touch, reuse some of the apps, specifically HTML5 web apps, as in the Firefox Marketplace for Firefox OS? So we can actually. The packaging format's a little bit different, but if they're not using any Firefox-specific APIs, then it would be easy enough to reuse those. And in fact, Alan Pope on our team has just today posted a blog post about porting native HTML5 games over to the Ubuntu phone. So I've just posted a link to his blog in the IRC channel there. You can go and read up on it. So the short answer is you can. It takes a little bit of work around the packaging to make it into a click app that you can put into the store. But otherwise, it should just work.
All right. Next question is from Chloe Wolfie Girl. And it goes, in a lot of modern phones on the lock screen, there's a quick camera option where you can open the camera without typing a password. In some, there is something called IC, where if tapped, it opens a set of contacts to contact if there's an emergency. So others can contact close ones to tell them what's happened. That's useful if you're hospitalized somehow. Is there plans to add this on Ubuntu Touch, and are there any ideas? I think this would be a good question to forward to the good question or idea to forward to the design team, or even to bring it up on the Ubuntu phone mailing list. As far as I know, there's no such idea to have this AC, but I know that there's been discussions about making the lock screen and the welcome screen more useful. So I think I would encourage you to post this on the mailing list where we can have a conversation with the design team, essentially.
Yeah, I seem to recall there being some conversation about making it faster to get to an emergency contact or emergency dialing, but I don't know much detail on that. So yeah, definitely contact the Ubuntu Touch IRC channel or the Ubuntu phone mailing list, and they can tell you more about that. For the phone or for the camera, I don't think there's any plans to let you get to that with bypassing the password. Accessing it, if you've got it pinned to your launcher, is easy enough, but you do still have to go through the unlock screen, and I haven't heard anything about plans to bypass that. All right. Half-Sail asks, what is our favorite Ubuntu phone game?
All right. In my case, I'd say it's machine versus machines, which keeps getting new levels and more difficult every time. And you should check out as well Pandalov, which was created by Sternfloat, which was one of the book contest organizers. That would be my recommendations.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people playing Pandalove. I did play Machines versus Machines. That's a great way to waste a lot of time on your phone because you really get into it. One of my favorite games, though, is 5 Letters. It's a very simple game. It's good for when you're just sitting like at a restaurant waiting for your food to arrive. You can play it with multiple people. But it's a real simple game. I enjoy it. It's by Robert Ansel.
All right. And actually, don't feel you need to ask us as well. I mean, if there's anyone on IRC who's got the recommendations, let us know about your favorite games. I'd be curious to see what you guys are playing and what you guys are finding cool in terms of games on the store.
All right. Chloe asks, have you made any mock-ups of what the TV GUI might look like with the Unity 8 update? Not that I've seen. The only mock-ups we have are back from 2012 when it was being based on the old Unity 2D code base. So we have not updated them yet with the new Unity 8 and SDK components look. But I would imagine functionally it will be pretty similar to what it was back in 2012. Probably the main difference will be because of the changes to scopes and the way scopes work in Unity 8.
Okay, so user 15 is asking, the Ubuntu phone calendar app has some problems with the UTC time zones. The time of an event is changing after you edit it, which makes it unusable. Will this be fixed with OTA 6? I cannot tell you if without knowing the actual bug number, I cannot tell you if this is targeted for OTA 6, although I would think so. The reason I'm mentioning this is because we're planning to ship Calendar as a pre-installed app with OTA 6. So Calendar is getting a lot of polishing. So I'd say my hunch is that this bug will be fixed, but if you've got a particular bug number that you can point us at, and we can tell you in more detail.
And if you don't have a particular bug number, please go either look and see if there is one already, and if there's not, file one, because it may be that you're the first person who's using UTC time zones and has experienced this. So never assume that if you encounter a bug that the developers know about it. Always file a bug report on it and give as much detail as you can to help them reproduce it. And if you can post the bug number in the IRC channel before the end of this broadcast, we will pass it along to the Calendar app developers to make sure that they are aware of it and looking into it.
Okay. Next question is from Tata. Reviews of Ubuntu Touch criticized that launching apps takes a lot of time. Will there be any improvements in the next months? Funny you mentioned that, because there's been some discussions in Canonical on how to improve this very recently. So I'd say stay tuned to the Ubuntu Phone mailing list for upcoming discussions on how to improve, or possibilities to improve app launch time. I'm thinking that there's something that will come up in the next day or two.
Yep, and we are aware that the apps do take a long time to launch, and there are various places that we can attack that. There's not, as far as we've been able to determine, there's not one fix that will make the huge improvement that we want to see. So it's going to take a series of fixes to different pieces. The app armor, the launching script, the SDK components that load for the majority of these apps. So there's a lot of different places that we need to attack the app startup time, and we're looking into all of them and prioritizing them where we get the most bang for the buck. But yeah, we are aware of the issues with that, and we are working towards resolving it. And like David said, keep an eye on the Ubuntu Phone mailing list, because some of that should be posted on there. We're pushing the people who are looking into it to start talking about that a little bit more on the mailing list. All right, we are out of questions now. We still have a few minutes left, so if there are any final questions about anything that we've talked about so far, or anything that we haven't talked about and you'd like us to, get them in now. While we wait for those, I'll give the usual plugs for Ubuntu On Air, the website ubuntuonair.com, as well as on Twitter at Ubuntu On Air, and on YouTube as Ubuntu On Air. If you go to our YouTube channel, you'll be able to rewatch this video, as well as any previously recorded video that's been hosted on ubuntuonair.com, going back several years now, including keynotes from previous Ubuntu Online summits, from Mark and from Rick Spencer and from other big names inside Canonical. Lots of community events have been hosted there. So all of those videos are available to go back and rewatch. And you can share those again with your friends. And again, follow us on Twitter for updates and upcoming events at Ubuntu On Air. All right, one last question for me. Mr. Q asks, what happened to the Ubuntu Update podcast? Any plans on further episodes? So yes, we do have plans. My co-host, Alan Pope, started having some audio recording issues after that first episode, and has recently killed his laptop altogether. So as soon as he stops breaking things, we'll be able to start recording again and get those out. All right, we do not have any other questions. So I guess we will call this a wrap early.
Yeah,
David, any parting thoughts?
No, I mean, I just like to say that don't feel you have to wait for the Q&A to ask us questions. You'll find us on IRC on the Ubuntu-community-team channel under the same nicknames. I'm DPM, Mike is mhall119, and yeah, feel free to ping us anytime with your questions.
All right, and I have one parting thought. Going back to the Global Jam that we discussed earlier, that's coming up in a couple of weeks. There is currently one Global Jam event in all of North America, and one Global Jam event in all of Europe. Now, I know some of you watching this are from North America and Europe, so if you are not going to one of those two Global Jam events, you should look at hosting one in your area. It is very easy to do. All you have to do is pick a coffee shop and tell people in your local team or your lugs or whatever that you're going to be there at a specific time to hang out and have some coffee or tea and talk about Ubuntu. So please go to loco.ubuntu.com, find the global event page. I posted the link in the IRC, and let's get some more events on there.
All right, then. And I think with this and having fixed my lower third as something mentioned, I had misspelled Ubuntu for the whole hour. I think we can call it a wrap. So next time I'll make sure that I don't create the lower third in the 30 seconds before starting the hangout. So thanks for the hangout, for the heads up. And I'd say thanks everyone who have joined us, watching us, or asking questions. And we'll see each other next week.
Yep. Well, not us, but somebody else from the Ubuntu community team will be on next week. All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.